Welcome to the final outcome, where we turn to ethics, the principles that keep research honest and protect everyone involved in it. Research ethics are the moral principles guiding how a study is planned and carried out, and they exist above all to protect the people involved and to keep the work trustworthy. That means respecting participants' rights, informed consent, confidentiality, and doing no harm at every stage. Think of a health study that gathers sensitive personal information. Handled carelessly, it could genuinely hurt someone. The key point is that ethics isn't a box you tick at the end. It's built into every part of the process. Let's start with 3 terms. Confidentiality means keeping participants' information private and only using it in the ways they agreed to. Anonymity goes a step further, making sure individuals can't be identified from the data or the final report at all. And personal data is any information that can identify a living person, which is protected by law under UK GDPR. Why does confidentiality matter so much? Because it sets a clear boundary on how much personal data can be shared without someone's consent, and people only speak honestly, especially about sensitive matters, if they trust that boundary will hold. In business and health research, that trust is essential and often a legal duty as well. Break it, and you can seriously harm participants and destroy the credibility of the whole study. The consequences of getting this wrong are serious. A business that fails to protect confidential information can lose clients and custom, and leaked data can be misused for fraud or discrimination. Participants themselves may suffer distress, embarrassment, or real-world harm, and the organization can face legal penalties and lasting damage to its reputation. Remember, under UK GDPR, confidentiality is not just an ethical duty, but a legal one. It's worth being precise about confidentiality and anonymity, because they're related, but not the same. With confidentiality, you know who said what, but you keep it private and secure. With anonymity, even you can't link the data back to a named individual. In practice, you protect people by removing names, using codes or pseudonyms, storing data securely, and reporting only grouped findings. Here's how that looks in a real study. A student interviews employees about workplace stress at a local company. Each person is told exactly how their words will be used and gives consent. Real names are swapped for codes, like participant 1, 2, and 3, and the recordings live on a password-protected drive, never posted online. The final report quotes themes rather than individuals, so no employee can be traced or blamed. Several principles work together to keep research both humane and honest. Some, informed consent, doing no harm, privacy, and safeguarding, are there to protect the participants. Others, confidentiality, integrity, and honest referencing, protect the quality and credibility of the work itself. Which principles matter most will depend on your subject and the people you're studying, but all of them deserve thought. 4 principles sit at the core. Informed consent means participants genuinely understand the study, freely agree to take part, and can withdraw whenever they wish. Beneficence means doing good and avoiding harm, so the study never damages people physically or emotionally. Privacy means lawfully protecting personal data under UK GDPR, and safeguarding means extra care for vulnerable people, such as children or those who are unwell. Let's take informed consent in a little more detail. Participants must know what the research involves before they agree, the purpose, what they'll actually be asked to do, any risks, and how their data will be used. That consent has to be freely given, with no pressure, and they must be able to withdraw at any point. And where children or vulnerable adults are involved, you also need consent from a parent, carer, or guardian. Beneficence simply means acting for the good of your participants and of society more widely. In practice, that means avoiding physical, emotional, or social harm, identifying any risks in advance, and keeping them to the absolute minimum. Sensitive topics, illness, bereavement, crime, call for particular care, and often for support to be on hand. The guiding instinct is to leave your participants no worse off for having taken part. Respecting privacy starts with restraint, collecting only the data you genuinely need, and then protecting it properly. Under UK GDPR, personal data must be gathered lawfully, stored securely, and not kept any longer than necessary. Safeguarding adds a further layer of protection for vulnerable groups, whether that's children, the elderly, or the unwell. A useful habit is to keep asking, could this study put anyone at risk, and how will I prevent it? When it comes to databases and digital resources, a few simple do's and don'ts keep you on the right side of the line. Do access only the sources you're authorized to use, stay within their license terms, credit the databases, journals and authors you draw on, and store downloaded files securely. Don't share your college login, bulk download, or scrape data, pass off copied content as your own, or misuse personal datasets. In short, use digital sources lawfully, responsibly, and with academic integrity. 3 related duties follow from that. Respect copyright, so don't illegally download, copy, or redistribute whole articles, books, or datasets. Cite properly, crediting the databases, journals, and authors behind every piece of information you use. And avoid data scraping, the automated or bulk downloading that breaches a database's terms of use. Above all, avoid plagiarism, never presenting someone else's text, tables, or images as your own. And note that it counts as an academic integrity offense even when it's accidental. Artificial intelligence is now woven through a lot of academic work, and it's worth being clear-eyed about it. AI tools can help you search and summarize literature and suggest relevant sources, check your spelling, grammar, and clarity, and help you organize ideas or make sense of a difficult concept. Those users can genuinely save time. But every institution sets its own policy on AI, and those rules have to be followed. So, where's the line? It's often perfectly acceptable to use AI for brainstorming and planning structure, explaining a concept in simpler words, checking grammar, or suggesting search terms that you then verify yourself. What's usually unacceptable is submitting AI-written text as your own work, inventing data or fake references, using AI where the assessment forbids it, or leaning on it without ever checking for accuracy or bias. The difference really is between a tool that supports your thinking and one that replaces it. If you do use AI, honesty is non-negotiable. You must declare it, following your institution's rules. That means acknowledging which tool you used, what you used it for, and when, and never dressing up AI output as your own independent work. Guides like Cite Them Right and most universities now give a set format for referencing generative AI tools. And be clear on this, using AI without declaring it can count as academic misconduct. Let's turn to referencing, which is really where good academic practice and ethics meet. Referencing credits the original authors and shows the evidence behind your claims. It lets your reader trace your sources and check your reasoning, and it protects you from plagiarism by clearly separating your ideas from everyone else's. Just bear in mind that different subjects use different systems, so always check which one your work requires. There's a handful of systems you'll come across. Harvard Referencing and APA both use an author date style in the text, and they're common in business, social science, psychology, and education. MLA uses author and page, favored in English and the humanities. Vancouver numbers its references and turns up in science and medicine, while footnote systems like Oscola, with notes at the foot of the page, are standard in law and history. The style changes, but the purpose, crediting your sources, stays the same. Whichever system you pick, the golden rule is to apply it correctly and consistently right the way through. Mixing styles or leaving gaps looks careless and can genuinely cost you marks. The easiest way to stay on top of it is to record every source as you go, so your reference list is complete by the end, and tools and guides like Cite Them Right can help you keep it tidy. Consistent referencing, done properly, is itself a mark of academic integrity. Let's see it work in a single essay. A learner draws on a Saunders textbook, an ONS webpage, and a journal article. In the text, using Harvard referencing, those appear as Saunders, Lewis, and Thornhill, 2019, and Office for National Statistics, 2024. And every one of those in-text citations has a matching entry in the reference list. That list stays in one style, alphabetical by author, with full details for each source. Doing this from the very start spares you a last-minute scramble and the risk of accidental plagiarism. Let's bring the outcome and the unit together. Research ethics protect participants and keep research honest, credible, and lawful. Confidentiality keeps personal data private, while anonymity ensures individuals can't be identified. And the core principles, informed consent, beneficence, privacy under GDPR, and safeguarding, run through every stage. Databases must be used lawfully, respecting licenses, copyright and citation, and AI must be kept within the rules and openly declared, with referencing that's correct and consistent throughout. That completes the unit, and you've now thought through the ethical side of research, from confidentiality to referencing. To take it further, the reading list points you to Cite Them Right for referencing, journals such as Research Ethics and the Journal of Academic Ethics, and the websites of BERA and the Information Commissioner's Office for Guidance on Ethics and UK GDPR. There are striking case studies too, including the Cambridge Analytica data scandal and universities' policies on generative AI. It's all on the unit's Moodle page, so do have a read before you submit, and well done for reaching the end.